guys, it's Jen and I'm back with another process video. I'm using some things from my stash today and you can see that I'm holding up a few of the different papers that I think I might use. For my background, I'm using this paper from Amy Tangerine's Rise and Shine collections from American Crafts, and it is called Chloe, and it's a nice light wood grain. And then I'm using some Heidi Swap frames. They're from her planner collection, kind of as a design element to cascade diagonally down my layout. I watched a video from Tracy Banks, who is Mercy Tiara here on YouTube, where she used a couple of frames and she backed them with vellum, and it's her most recent video, or one of her most recent videos, and that just kind of sparked this idea in me. I always have a hard time using these frames because I think I get locked into the idea that I need to back them with photos, but I'm trying to break out of that box a little bit. So I'm going to adhere these frames to some vellum and trim them out, and I'm just using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, and I have that in a fine line applicator bottle, which I got it at Hobby Lobby, and it's awesome because it helps get a really thin application, and it also helps it to not clog. So I really love that bottle. Like I said, I got it at Hobby Lobby, but you can also get them at Amazon. So I've also pulled out, a minute ago you might have seen that I pulled out some photo overlays, a gold one and a white one. They're from the Maggie Holmes, not confettis because that's her newest line, but from her last line, so open book, and that's what I'm gluing down right now to that frame. So the Heidi Swap frames come with gold and silver in them, and I wanted to bring a little bit more gold into the layout, and so I found those Maggie Holmes frames, and I'm just adhering it to the back of the frame, and then I'm also adhering vellum to the back of it as well, so just so that they have a consistency. So I wanted the gold, but I didn't want it to be completely see-through because I was backing the others with vellum. So I'm also using this white one, and I'm going to do the same thing, adhere it to the back, and then put vellum behind that. So just backing all of those with vellum. And I really like the way that the vellum kind of softens it just a little bit, but you can definitely still see through to the back. So vellum's an awesome way to get some more texture without taking away or, drawing your eye anywhere that you don't want it to go. So I'm just kind of playing around with the placement of the frames. I really wanted to overlap some of them because I really like that you can kind of see through a little bit, but it just didn't end up working out for me that way. I just didn't like the way it was looking. I kind of wished I had one or two more frames, but I just didn't. So I just end up adhering them and placing them just next to each other. What you see me doing now is I'm poking out some fun foam that I die cut using my my Sizzix Big Shot. And I used a die from We Are Memory Keepers. It's an alphabet and it's called High Rise. And I just cut it out of the cheap fun foam that you can buy at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or whatever in white. And now I'm using some thickers. They're called Kitten and they're in the color Parfait. It's kind of like a bright pink. And I really love those. I like how it's white but with the pink outline. And so my title's going to be Perfectly Imperfect, and I'm using these Teresa Collins Studio Gold tile letter stickers for my subtitle, so it will say, I love this perfectly imperfect photo. And this is a photo of on Easter. Every Easter we try to get a group photo of all of the nieces and nephews, and without fail every time it's never that, picture perfect moment. It's always somebody's not looking or somebody's crying or something like that. Anyway, this was another one of those. And so I'm growing to love those photos. It's kind of funny, and it's Easter every single time. We can't get that, perfect photo. So, but I'm loving it. This is perfect to me. So that little love this arrow that I put next to the photo came from Teresa Collins Studio Gold chipboard sheet, and I'm just looking through some of the other sticker sheets that I have in my stash to see what else I might want to add. Now, I was looking at that frame up at the top left that has a little bit of that kind of aqua color. It's more of a greeny aqua. And I wanted to bring a little bit more of that into the layout. So I found these stickers from Maggie Holmes Confetti collection, and this word says lovely, and it's just a nice match. So I thought I might change my title to I love this perfectly lovely imperfect photo, and kind of split up my title so that part of it's at the top and part of it's at the bottom. But I just found that the lovely wasn't light enough for me, and also I don't think it provided enough contrast, maybe is what I was thinking. But I also don't like how many different fonts there are in the title. I tend to stick to 2 fonts maximum, and sometimes I'll do 3, which is what I'm doing this time. And so that's kind of already pushing it for me. So I end up taking that off. I'm looking through my things now to see what else I can add that's in that same kind of greeny aqua color, or mint, but I'm just not finding it. I did want to bring in some floral aspects to this photo. It's an Easter photo, and there's floral in that frame, and I just am a big fan of floral motifs in general. So I'm going to use my stencil that is from a Scraptastic. It's a Scraptastic Club exclusive, and I'm using some Worn Lipstick Distress ink, and I'm going to put that in a few places on the layout. And I'm just testing it beneath the photo to see if the color is what I like, and I did like it. So I'm going to put it up at the top right, and I'll put some at the bottom left of the photo in the Worn Lipstick color there. And in a second here, you may have seen me pull out that die, that leaf die. It's from Maggie Holmes Confetti collection, and I'm going to cut out some vellum leaves to use around my photo to, again, just add a little bit of texture without detracting from the design, because vellum is great at that. So that's what I'm doing now, is just getting those vellum die cuts ready. And I think I just disappear over to my big shot. It's just to the left of where I'm sitting, and so I'm just cutting some out. And I had a hard time with it. I had to make a shim with a piece of cardstock, and just so it would cut cleanly. So I don't know if that's a general problem with that die, but I was having an issue with it, so I made it work. But while I'm cutting those, since I've disappeared, you can see there's one of them right there. I just wanted to let you guys know that I do have a Flickr gallery for all of my scrapbook layouts, and I will make sure to link to that below in the photo. But I have had a few people ask where they can see photos online, and since I'm horrible at keeping up my blog, I just decided to upload them to my Flickr gallery. So I'll make sure to post a link below, and so you can check that out. And also, if you hadn't noticed, at the end of my video I did change the where you can find me information, and I have a new Instagram account that is just for my crafty stuff. And I just post randomly and occasionally on there, and you can find me at Crafty Jen Scow. And I just wanted to kind of make a new home for my crafty creations, because my regular Instagram account, while I posted the occasional crafty thing, it was mostly personal. And you're still welcome to follow me there too, but just in case you're just in it for the crafty things and you don't want to know about my personal life, and I'm totally fine with that. So now I'm just going ahead and gluing down the frames, and I'm going to put one more area where I have that stenciled flower, and I accidentally picked raspberry distress ink on this one instead of the Worn Lipstick, but you can't really tell, and I end up being fine with it. So I also did take and cut just a couple of little strips of that striped black and white paper. That's from a Maggie Holmes open book from her open book collection, from a paper from that collection that I really love. I haven't met a diagonal stripe I don't love, so I'm always a big fan of that. And if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I love putting a strip of paper at the top and or the bottom or the sides. I like putting strips of paper on the edges of my layouts. So I'm just, again, using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to adhere the frames. And I kind of made that silver frame and the floral frame my photo. The corners of my photo just fit nicely into those two pieces. And I decided I want my photo to stand out a little bit more, so I'm going to back it with some white cardstock, just a thin photo mat. Sometimes I'll print my photos with a photo mat and sometimes, or with a white border, and sometimes not. So it's easy enough to add one if I decide not to. So just cutting off the branding strip there, and I'm going to adhere my strips of paper. And I'll get this going. So I kind of flipped my layout upside down, and I wanted to see what it would look like with the title in the bottom. And I really liked the way that the weight was distributed when I did it that way, even though it's exactly the same layout, because I had the title there before. It's just flipped around. It just looks a little bit more visually pleasing to me. So I am going to end up changing, I just flipped the layout. And so now I'm just going to put my photo up on some 3D foam squares, and these ones are by Scrapbook Adhesives. You often see me use my thin 3D foam squares, but because these frames had a little bit more loft, I ended up using the taller foam squares. These aren't quite as thin. And now I'm just gluing down my title, and I'm using my Scotch Quick Dry adhesive to glue down those foam letters. And you can buy the fun foam. At least my Hobby Lobby had it in 2 different thicknesses, and I can't remember what the 2 are, but this one is the thicker of the 2, and it worked fine in my die cut machine, so that was great. And I love that quick dry adhesive. It is my favorite. So thanks, Nicole Jones, for turning me on to the Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. I need to buy some more probably. And I almost always add a little bit of extra adhesive to my thickers, and so I will end up doing that, but I don't think I do it on camera for that word imperfect. So now I'm trying to decide if I want to use some white leaves as well to just bring a little bit of whiteness up to the top, but because I was thinking to balance the word perfectly, but the foam isn't like super white, and so I didn't feel like it needed it. So I just ended up adding the vellum. And I had just a little bit of trouble adhering the vellum behind the photo. The adhesive doesn't dry as quickly on the vellum because it's not as porous as regular cardstock, and so it does hold it. It doesn't dry quite as quickly. So now I'm looking through these Teresa Collins Studio Gold chipboard pieces to see if there's anything else that I might want to add to the layout from that sheet. And I decided to pull off a couple of these gold hearts, and I'm going to make kind of a little cluster at the top right of the photo where I have those vellum pieces. And then my laundry's done, if you heard that. And then I kind of feel like I need something to the left of my title, and I'm just going to look through some of my embellishments to see if there's anything that I can find. And I found these butterflies from a Notes and Things. They're like layered embellishments or whatever, and I really like the way the butterfly looks, and I just kind of feel like I've got the florals and the leaves, and the butterflies work with that kind of feel. And I wanted another one because the other one that was on the sheet had yellow on it, but I didn't have any yellow on the layout, so I didn't want to add that one. So I went and got my punch from EK Success to try to see if I could find any papers that I could just punch another butterfly or two out of. and I got distracted on the way, and I found these notes and things tags that I thought might work to balance that butterfly, but I just in the end realized that I really need another butterfly. So what I'll end up doing is cutting apart the other one that has the yellow on it and just cutting the yellow part off, and you'll see that here in a second. I do end up using that butterfly that I punched, and that is from a Maggie Holmes open book text paper. So here you see I'm cutting off the yellow on that butterfly, and then it just has the pink and the text paper, and that works great. And I'm just kind of fluffing up the wings a little bit so it has a little extra dimension. It's stitched down the center, so it works well to do that. And now I'm just trying to decide how I want to put the vellum leaves on the left side of the photo. Just kind of want to fill in that area as well, just to kind of mirror the top right. I'll put it on the bottom left. So now I have a couple points of interest. I have the top right of the photo and the title, and the bottom left of the photo is kind of one whole thing. I decided to put the title, or not the title, the date, Easter 2015 above the photo, and I wrote my journaling in those two blank squares. And now I'm just going to use some India ink to put a few black splatters to add some contrast to the layout. And that is going to complete it. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you'll see me again soon. Bye-bye.